In this video, I'll be summarizing chapter 1 of Automate the Boring Stuff. So just like we have addition and subtraction in algebra, in Python we have what we call operators. These operators are similar to what we have in algebra. For example, we have the addition operator, which is the plus sign. So an example is 2 plus 2. It gives you 4. Sums the value up. The next operator is the subtraction operator. 2 minus 2, which is 0. The next one is the multiplication operator. 2, and it's represented by the star in Python. 2 times 2, which is 4. The fourth one is the division operator, which is the backstroke. 2 divided by 2, 1. The fifth one is the exponent operator, which is represented by 2 stars. 2 star star 2. What this means is 2 raised to the power 2, or 2 exponent 2. So that's why we got 4. So 2 times 2 equals 4. Then the next one is called the modulus, or the remainder, and is represented by the percentage sign. So 22 percentage 8. And we have 6. What this means is that when you divide 22 by 8, the remaining number, or the remainder, is 6. So 8 goes into 22 2 times, which is 16. And 22 minus 16 equals 6. So that's what this means. And the next one, which is similar to this one, is called the flawed quotient, and is represented by double strokes. So what the flawed quotient means is that how many times does 8 go into this 22, which is 2 times. That's why we got the 2. But for the percentage, it's the remainder. Okay, so let me give you more examples on that. So 2 percentage 2 is 0, because when you divide 2 by 2, you don't get a remainder. And 2 backstroke 2 equals 1, because 2 goes into 2 1 time. So the next thing the book talks about is data type. There are several data types in Python, and the common ones are integers, floating point numbers, and strings. So an integer is a whole number, either a positive or negative number. And it also includes 0. 1 is an integer, 2 is an integer, negative 1 is an integer, 0 is also an integer. So this is the first data type, integers. Then the next one is called the floating point numbers, or basically float. So these are numbers with decimals. An example is negative 1.9. This is a float. Another example is 1.0. This is also a float. Then the next data type is string data type. When we say string, or a string in Python, what we mean is a text value in a code. So for example, spam. So this is a string. It always comes in a quote. So press enter and it gives you this. The next thing we are going to talk about is string concatenation. So string concatenation is when you put 2 strings together using the addition operator. So for example, we have Alice Alice, then the addition operator, and Bob. So what this means is that we are adding this string, which is Alice, to Bob. So we call this string concatenation, Alice Bob. So it adds them together. Then we have string replication. So for the string replication, I'm going to use the multiplication operator. So Alice, then the multiplication operator 5. So what just happened is that the Alice was repeated 5 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we call string replication. So let's add a string and a number. So 1. So Python is going to give us an error because you can't add a text value, which is the string, to an integer, which is 1. You can't do this in Python. You can only add or concatenate a string and a string. It's very important you know this. But you can replicate a string and an integer to know the difference. The next thing the book talks about is what we call variables. So a variable is like a box containing an item. So for example, spam is the variable. It's going to be our variable. Then equal to 1. This is our variable and this is our value. Or this is our box and this is the item in the box. So imagine it's this way. To spam, and we are going to print, we are going to type spam. We got 1. So it gave us what was in the box, which is spam. For more clarity, I'm going to give more examples. X equals 40. So this is the variable and this is the value. Then we are going to add them. We are going to add spam and X. Oh, sorry. So spam X. We are going to get 41. So 40, which is the X, plus 1, which is the spam. And we got 41. Let's apply string replication with X, with the variable X. So we have gem. We are going to use the star and X. So it repeated gem 40 times because X is 40. If you are going to count, you are going to get 40. You can also have a variable store a string. So spam equals hello. So when we type spam, we get hello. Now let's apply string concatenation with this. So spam plus spam. So this spam is hello, a string, this hello, and this spam is also this hello. And let's see what we get. So we get 2 hellos, string concatenation. The next thing we are going to do is type our first program. I already have it typed somewhere here. So so this is our first program. This can be found in the book, so you can type it yourself. I don't want to type it. So the first line is print hello world. The next one is what is your name. So it's going to print hello world and what is your name. So let's run it and see what happens. So change this to current file and run it. So you see what happened. It printed hello world, which is the first line, printed the second line, which is what is your name. Then on the set line, line 6 over here, there's a variable and the equal to sign and this new thing, which is called the input function. So what this input function does is it accepts a value from the user. So our program is requesting for a value using this input function. So we are going to type our name here, which is Python. So when we type the Python, then it moves to the next line, which is print. It is good to meet you plus my name. So my name is a variable. And what is stored in my name? Python. Right, this input. So this Python, when we type this Python, it replaces the input. So now the variable contains the name, the actual name, which is Python, and printed it out on the next line using the string concatenation. So this is a string, then the addition symbol, then my name. So you can, as you can see here, it is good to meet you Python. So the name, the actual name came, which is the Python. Then the next line is print the length of your name is. So this is going to print. The next line, use the len function. What this len function does is that it counts the number of characters of the value stored in my name. So the value stored in my name is Python. So Python, how many characters do we have in Python? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the length of the Python is 6. So that's why you have 6 here on this line. Then the next one is what is your age? Printed it here. What is your age? My age equals input function. We have another input function here. So the program is going to wait until you've entered a value. So you are going to enter a value 10. Then we hit enter. Then it's going to continue. Print you are my age. Yes, oh, so string concatenation here again. You are, then my age, the actual age that you type 10. That's how you see, that's why we see 10 years old. Then the last one is you will be. This in a year. The last line of code is the trickiest. So let me talk about this input function. Every time you put in a value, this input function changes the value into a string. So whether it's a number or it's a text, you still have a string. So this 10 here is a string, not an integer. In order to add a string to a number or an integer, you need to convert that string into an integer using the int function. That's why we have the int my age plus 1. You can't just do this. You can't just do this. This my age here has a string value, and you can't add a string to an integer. So the string has to be converted into an integer using the int function. That's why we have this here. So now 10 plus 1 is equal to 11. So now the 11 is an integer. Now you are going to concatenate this 11 to a string, which is not possible because you can't concatenate a string and an integer. So that integer, which is 11, has to be converted into a string using the string function. Then you can concatenate. So that's what happened here, and we got the 11. So that's it for now. See you in the next one.